Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm very glad to have this chance to share with you, to have this chance to talk to you and answer your questions. So this is my name. You can call me Mr. Zhang. I'm the new course chair for the Diploma in Food, Nutrition and Culinary Science. So I think most of you already know, previous course chair is Madam Ong. Madam Ong has been transferred to another department, so I take over her to be the new course chair for the Diploma in Food, Nutrition and Culinary Science. A few of you may already know me. I talked to a few FNC students before. So some of you may already know me. Previously, I was the course chair for the Diploma in Medical Biotechnology. And my background is mainly the medical background. I was a medical doctor before. And so I'm very glad to be your new course chair. For the other course team, the course management team, there's no change. Sorry. Miss Johanna Tan is still the course manager, the manager of the course, who is mainly in charge of the academic related matters. And then Ms. Wu Man Chao is still the diploma coordinator, who is mainly in charge of the student development and alumni related matters. Okay. Sorry. So just in case you want to contact me, this is my email address and telephone number. So the phone number is connected to my mobile phone, so you can contact me using this. But I highly recommend you to, if you want to contact me, either email me or message me. You can message me through MS Teams because sometimes I have lessons, sometimes I have meetings. I may not be able to pick up the phone. But if you email me or message me, definitely I will reply you. Okay. Then I will talk about the coming semester. Coming semester for year 2 and year 3 students, you may already know. But for year 1 students, this is the first time you go to October semester, slightly different from the April semester. In April semester, we still have 2 terms, but every term is 7 weeks. But in the second semester, the October semester, the first term actually has 8 weeks. So 8 weeks, you can see the first 3 weeks, you attend lessons. Then the fourth week, still the flex week. So all the flex week are in the fourth week. This one, no change. But after the fourth week, there are 4 more weeks to study. So be careful about this. And after that is a term test week, then the term break. So this is the first term. So every semester has 2 terms. Then after the first term, the second term has less weeks. Second term only have 6 weeks. 6 weeks. Flex week is still in the fourth week of the second term. So after flex week, we only have 2 weeks left before the study week and then the examination week. So for some subjects, the assessment, the final term test 2, may already conducted in the last week already. In week 17, a few subjects, they may already start to conduct the term test. And a few subjects may conduct the test in the study week, and a few subjects may conduct the assessment in the examination week. Okay, so you can see from these, I hope everyone be mentally be prepared, because many of the contents we have no choice. We have to teach in term 1. Okay, so most of contents we have to teach in term 1, and less content will be taught in term 2. When you look at term 2, you can see week 16. Week 16 actually is Chinese New Year week. Chinese New Year week, Tuesday and Wednesday are public holiday. Monday is a Chinese New Year Eve. So that week, actually the whole week, it's very difficult to conduct lessons. So that means we have 1 less week in term 2. So theoretically, we have 6 weeks, but actually remove the flex week, remove the Chinese New Year week, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks to really attend lessons. Of course, some lessons still will be conducted on Thursday and the fourth Friday of the Chinese New Year week, okay, for some subjects. So, so most of contents will be taught in term 1. Be prepared for that, although some of them may be tested in term 2. Okay, so but be prepared. If you know early, and now I already told you early, and you mentally be prepared for this, then should be okay for most of you. This has been This is the same for everyone all these years. So most of them survive. So should be no issue for most of you. Okay. Then through the course structure, year 1 students will go to 1.2, year 2 will go for 2.2, and then year 3 go to 3.2. I think most of you may already know the subjects you are going to take. I just briefly go through. For TP Fund subjects, I'll go to the core subjects later. TP Fund subjects, for year 1 students, you will take professional communication, current issue and critical thinking, and global study. Most of you. And then for year 2 students, you will take workplace communication and LIP 2. For year 3 students, you will take LIP 3 and CAT 3. Okay. Then the core subjects and elective subjects. For year 1 students, you will take basic microbiology, food chemistry, fundamental baking techniques, and statistics for applied science. For year 2 students, you will take product development and marketing, food preservation, and food safety management. For year 2 students, if you have chosen food quality assurance, which is food-related elective cluster in 2.1, then 2.2, you will take the food-related subjects, which is a principle of instrumental analysis. So if you have taken in 2.1, you chose the nutrition 1, then okay, for the food one, then year 3, most of you will take the food technology elective cluster. Okay, so this is connected. For students who have taken principle of biochemistry and physiology for nutrition in 2.1, in 2.2, you will take this subject, which is community health and nutrition. Then 3.2, you will take the elective cluster, which is applied nutrition elective cluster. Okay, also has 2 subjects. So for those who have taken the culinary related subjects in 2.1, which is heritage cuisine, then you will take the catering technology in 2.2. Then 2.3, you will take the central kitchen technology. Also has 2 subjects. So this is the for some culinary students. I think because we divided you into 2 parts, so some of you will take the elective cluster. Some of you will doing the SIP at the same time. Okay, so this is the whole picture of what you are going to learn. So this is the very brief briefing about what you are going to learn. I think I will spend more time answering your questions because I see a lot of questions. So now I stop sharing. Back to you, Nemon and Venice. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Just to add on to some of the announcements, FIG is planning to have the spice show, which we have mentioned quite a few times in different events. So this spice show is basically we'll be going to Fort Canning and looking at the Spice Garden. Yeah. So this will happen in the October sem in maybe the first flex week or the second flex week due to COVID situation. Yeah. So it's compulsory for all year 1 and year 2 students. For year 3 students, it's optional and we'll be sending a form soon for you to indicate your interest whether you would like to go. Let me share the slides again.
Okay, now let's proceed on to the Q&A session. Questions that you have submitted before the event in the Microsoft Forms will be answered before those from Pigeonhole. Yeah, and we will show this slide once again. If you have a question during the event, feel free to ask them anytime through the website, Pigeonhole. Okay, we are now at our first category, where we included all the questions which did not fall under the categories that will be shown later. So first question for Mr. Zhang is, what's your goal becoming the host chair of FNC? Mr. Zhang, please.
Okay, that's a good question. For students, I think the two major goals. One is to help you have a better experience of learning a TP, of learning in this course. Second one is to have more collaboration with the industry to make sure you have better job, easier for you to find jobs after your graduation. So this is my two major goals for you. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zhang. Now for the second question, what are you looking forward to being our new course chair? Mr. Zhang, please.
I think this may be the same as the goals. I hope to help you to have a better experience in this course, no matter what. Because I have a habit. Every semester during the midterm, there will be feedback. Ask you to give us the feedback to different subjects and also to the course. So I myself have a habit to read every feedback. Okay, so no matter what, you write it down. I will read everyone's feedback. And so after getting the feedback, I will also talk to the course team to see what we can improve. I will also share with you about our progress of how we respond, what we have responded, what we have done, and how we respond to the feedback. So I hope in this way you can have a better experience. But anyway, for polytechnic education, the main purpose.
Sorry, Mr. Zhang, you're muted.
Sorry.
You
Have
stopped
you?
at poly.
Oh, sorry, I did not touch anything then. Okay, stop it. Because for polytechnic education, the main purpose is to help you to find a job. Of course, some of you will go for further study, but in the Singapore system, polytechnic is still the main purpose is still to help you to find a job. So this one, the course, I will work with the course team and the industry to help every one of you to try to get the job. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Zhang, next question for you is, what is one wish you have for FNC students? It seems like the FNC students want to know more about you.
Okay, for FSC students, I think the school is different from the real world. In the real world, in the school, we treat every student very nicely. Most of the, I can say most of the lecturers is very kind and very nice. But when we visit the industry, we find that it's not that. I also come from the industry, yeah. But they are more strict, and sometimes the scolding is a very common way of communication, but it does not mean anything. And sometimes when I find that when students go out, they cannot stand to that because they have been treated very well. Everyone treat me very nicely, but when I go out, what? Suddenly you communicate in this way. Looks like I'm not the center of the world. I have to listen to your talking to me in such a way. So I think what I wish is that know the reality better and have a good attitude, because no matter what the outside world is, if you have a good attitude, you will always win. Yeah. If you have a good attitude, you have attitude to learn, you have attitude to solve the problem, you have an attitude to listen to other people, accepting other people's criticizing, then you will become better and better. And then someday you will find you are the one who is better than others, and no one can scold you anymore. So attitude is the most important thing. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang. Last question for this category. Advice on how to achieve a good position for further studies in a local university and scholarship. For Mr. Zhang or Ms. Joanne, I'd like to answer.
For local universities, we also have communications with local universities, not only local universities, also overseas universities every year. So what we understand is that if you want to go for further study in the university, the first thing is still the first line is still for polytechnic students is still the GPA. So you must reach your basic 9, pass the basic 9 of GPA. Then they will look at other parts. For example, your other portfolio. For example, your CCA, your leadership, your community service, your communication, your personal statement, your recommendation. So that one is not a fixed answer, but the first 9 is fixed. So for example, for NTU, if you are aiming for NTU, so you should aim for a CGPA of at least 3.4, at least 3.4. Then you can pass the first 9, then go to the second 9. If you aim for NUS, you should have a CGPA of at least 3.7. Then you pass the first 9. Then you can go to the second 9. Then they will start to look at your other portfolio. If you aim for SIT, your CGPA should be at least 3.0. 3.0, then you pass the first 9. Then you can think about other portfolio. We also have students who get the offer from SMU, the Singapore Management University, and other universities. So very similar. But I will just use these 3 universities as an example. For scholarship, very difficult. For scholarship, to get a scholarship, usually they will not only look at the academic results. Of course, academic results is very important. You must usually they will give it to the top one, if you're the top 10% or top 20%, at least top 20% in the course. Then they will then you are good at other areas. For example, the leadership program, community service, and you have other strong portfolio. Then you may get the scholarship. But different university is different. This one I cannot talk for them. I don't have specific comments. You should ask a different university about the scholarship. So it's not me who should tell you about the scholarship. But admission roughly is like that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zhang. I'll now pass my time on to Levon for the subsequent categories. Levon, please.
Thank you. So now I'll move on to the job scope / career path category. So for the first question, what are some job prospects in the different sectors for food science, nutrition, and culinary?
For this category, I will invite the course manager, the manager of the course, Ms. Johanna Tan, to answer these questions. Ms. Tan.
Okay, yeah, I'll take this question. Levon, can I share some slides I think it'll be easier for the first question. Right, so I think there were a number of questions asking on what are possible career opportunities, job scope, as well as SIP. So I've sort of put them together since they are linked. So if you have chosen or you have inclination for food science, so for the year 1s, you haven't chosen your elective yet, you're still maybe exploring. Year 2 and of course year 3, you have already sort of decided on your tracks. So if you are more inclined to food science or you have already gone into the food science track, these are your possible SIP placements as well as career opportunities. So in terms of SIP, you may go to places like food manufacturing companies. So you can think of companies like Nestle, Gardenia. Okay, when you're there, you may be involved with product development, QA, QC. You may be doing like product development trials. You may also be doing testing of the products. Maybe if you're in Gardenia, you may be doing some quality tests on the bread. You may also be allocated to food ingredient companies. So for example, these are companies which focus on, they produce certain products. Maybe they produce starch and modified starches, or they produce different types of flavorings. So when you go to this type of companies, what you will be working on is maybe looking at different types of modified starches. How would they be used in different applications, say in a sauce, in a beverage, in a bakery product, in a noodle-based product? What are the different applications of the starch? Same thing, if you go to a flavor house, you're focusing more on flavors. So flavorings, it could be sweet or savory flavorings. You may be doing certain chemical tests on these flavor compounds, or you may also be doing like application type of work, say using their flavorings and suggesting how much you can use, say in a bakery product or in a confectionery product. And the last possible placement would be testing companies. So this would include like you would go there and do tests, like maybe analyze the amount of fat, the amount of moisture, amount of protein, etc. So the placements are very varied. In terms of career opportunities for a food science track, one of the things would be, of course, an assistant food technologist or a food technologist. So as a food technologist, you would be doing product development, you would do testing, you would do sensory evaluations, etc. Maybe you do not like product development, you prefer to do more routine work, then you could look for jobs in, say, as quality assurance, quality control. So this is where you'll be doing routine testing of food samples. There's also the component of food hygiene. So maybe you go and work at NEA and do food hygiene inspections, or also for food safety as a food safety officer. So this is for the food science track. If you're more inclined towards nutrition or you are already in the nutrition track, you may go to certain places for SIP, like of course hospitals, healthcare institutions like IMH. So in hospitals and healthcare institutions, you will be exposed to the food service, okay, where they prepare the food. They need to prepare the meals according to the patient's needs. You may also follow the dietitian around as they interact with patients. If not for clinical type, then you can be assigned to agencies like HPB. You may work on nutrition educational material, or the Sports Institute or A-STAR. So for A-STAR, it's more on nutrition research. Then there's also a portion of students which would go to nutrition consultancy companies. So in these places, they may be developing some recipes, healthier aspect recipes for the clients or for the company. So your career opportunity, so with a polytechnic diploma, you cannot become a dietitian straight away. You would only be at the most a dietetic technologist or assistant, or a health nutrition or health educator. Lastly, for the culinary track, possible SIP placements would be in central kitchens. So some of our students so far has gone to Montreal Patisserie, Dinata. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with these places. So Montreal is actually a central kitchen where they do a lot of bakery products, like cakes, pastries, breads, and they actually supply to different F&B establishments. Dinata is the central kitchen that operates out of the airport. They supply meals for airlines. So of course, other than central kitchens, you can be posted to F&B places like bakeries or some Asian or Western restaurants. And a small handful of you may also be allocated to food ingredient companies. So doing the similar things as the food science track in food ingredient companies. So more on application, okay, and creating recipes with the ingredients that the company has. Your career opportunities from the culinary track, you'll be a junior R&D chef. You can also be an assistant food technologist because you do have the background of food science. Okay, so actually from all these three tracks, when you graduate from all these with our diploma, you have experience in all three tracks, whether it's food science, nutrition, or culinary. So you're actually well-versed in all areas. It's just that maybe your focus was a bit more specific to food science, nutrition, or culinary. Okay, does this answer the question, Lavon?
Yeah, I think it answers it very well.
I think the next question was asking about a dietitian, right? What to do if you want to be a dietitian. So as I mentioned, when you graduate with this diploma, you cannot be a dietitian straight away. So you will need to further study. So in Singapore, there's only one university that you can further study, which is SIT. They have a nutrition and dietetics degree. But I would just like to highlight to you that this degree, the offer placement is very small. I think it's only about 30 to 50 places. And the competition is very big because there's a lot of A-level students who apply. There's also a lot of people who have working experience. Maybe they have been working in the healthcare for a while, and then they want to, further their studies. They want to further equip themselves. So for students with just a polytechnic diploma, it's very hard to get into that course. So a lot of our students end up having to go overseas. Australia is a very common place for where our nutrition students go overseas to further study for nutrition or dietetics. Yeah. What is the R&D industry like? I guess, everyone needs to eat food. So there's always new food being developed. And as you know, now there's a lot of trends. Now lately, I'm sure you all know the latest trend is like plant-based products. So definitely with our knowledge in food science, we know how, the ingredients react with each other. Then with your knowledge in nutrition, you know what is the nutritional requirements that people need, and your knowledge in culinary. So you're able to use all these three knowledge and skills that you have to really develop, very good recipes or products in the industry when you go out to work. So I would say that this is the edge that you have over other polytechnic diplomas in this similar area, because you're exposed and you're experienced to all these three different aspects. So of course, the R&D industry is very dynamic. When you first go out, you of course can't be too picky with your job, what job you're going to get. And of course, in this current situation, it's not easy to get a job. So I think you can't be too picky for your first job. So definitely there are jobs in the food science, the R&D sector for you. Okay, the fourth question, do you really need to go to uni to secure a good job? Well, we do have graduates who only went to uni much later on. They went out to work maybe for 5-10 years. Then they were in a very good position outside, but then they decided they want to learn more, they want to further study. So then they took a break to go to uni. So yes, of course, maybe it's your parents' aspirations that you must go to uni definitely after poly. But I would say if you do come across a good offer immediately after poly, say it could have been a continuation from your SIP company. Maybe you did a fantastic job there. They really like what you've done and they offer you a place. I would suggest you can, take that offer first. You get some work experience. When you've worked in that sector for a while, you also understand a bit more what the industry is like, before you go on to study in uni. So of course, uni, you do learn more, right? But at some stages, maybe you can do that later on in your career when you feel that you want to further study. But I would say if you get a good offer, you find a good job, say you get an offer after poly, and it's something you want to do, I would say you can go for it first after graduation, because it's also not easy to find a job that after graduation, as you would probably realize. Yeah. The salary, there's a range. Okay, it depends, SME or MNC, but probably like from high 2005, 2000, and this depends which sector, culinary, food science, or nutrition. Depends on where you are, MNC, F&B establishment, hospital, etc. So I would say, in general, probably around starting you can expect maybe around 2000 to mid 2000. Yeah, this is just a rough gauge.
Let's move on to more questions on job scope and career.
Personal trainer. So that one I'm assuming is like working in a gym as a personal trainer, right? For the first question. Well, from the nutrition track, what you would probably learn that can help you with this as a job as a personal trainer would probably be like, the nutrition requirements for people of different age groups. If you take the certain subject, practical sports nutrition, you would know what are the requirements, nutrition requirements required for athletes. But then I'm not too sure what is the entire job scope of a personal trainer, but what I can just share here is that, your background with the nutrition requirements and that from that one brief subject on sports nutrition may be helpful, but I'm not sure if it will really be so suitable for you to pursue as a personal trainer. Yeah, because it's only that small portion. The last question, well, we do have a few students who end up, they studied this course, they end up starting their own business, entrepreneurs. So you may have heard of one of our alumni. He may have shared before at some career opportunities, Mr. Ramesh. Mr. Ramesh is one of our successful graduates and entrepreneurs. We have another graduate who has started her own vegan bakery business. But of course, yes, these are still in the areas related to food, right? So I mean, I can't really offer you advice on other opportunities or careers outside of this, of our diploma, because I'm not very well, versed in those areas. But I guess if you're inclined to starting your own business, I think TP also has a lot of the IED opportunities, entrepreneurship opportunities for you to, explore, like a handful of our graduates have done so.
Now move on to the next segment, which is electives.
Okay, so for the electives, just now, very briefly, when Mr. Zhang showed the course structure, so when you are in year 2, you will be taking one elective in each semester. So one for food science, so if you're choosing food science, you take just one subject for food science in 2.1, and then one more again in 2.2. Of course, this is on top of the core subjects. The electives, so there will be a briefing for the electives. So for the year 1 students, there will be a briefing again on what are the electives, how to choose, etc. This will be done later, maybe in November, December period, because the selection period is in December. So you will go in and select your elective in December. Yeah. So this also applies to the year 2.2 students. You will also do your selection for your elective cluster in December. Okay, yeah, it's okay, the next slide. I think what will be taught in each elective, this one we will go through in details during the subject briefing. We won't go through in detail now because, currently we have year 1, year 2, and year 3 students. So actually the year 2 and year 3 students have already, taken the electives. Will our grade for certain modules affect our route for year 2? No, we let you choose depending on your interest. Of course, we do have some maybe size limits that we would look at, but your grades in certain modules will not be a major factor. So that also applies to the third question. If I want to go food science track, what electives would suit me? Yeah, so again, I think we will go through more on the electives during the subject selection briefing. How is food science different from nutrition? Okay, so just very quickly, the main difference, food science is definitely we're focusing more and studying the food. We look at things like how do the ingredients react with each other within a food, and then therefore these reactions, how does it later on affect maybe the flavor, the color, the texture of the food, and then how does this affect the shelf life of our food. But whereas for nutrition, the main focus is looking at how does the food we eat affect our body. right? So what are the nutrition requirements required for people of different ages? So from a baby to an elderly, okay, what are the different requirements? For athletes, what are the different nutrition requirements? And then for people who may suffer from certain diseases like obesity, cardiovascular diseases, what are the different nutrition requirements required? So the focus is different. Food science, we focus on the food. Nutrition, we look at how when we eat or consume the food, what are the nutritional requirements, how does it affect our body and our functions. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Johanna. Now we'll be
Okay, welcome back everyone. May I just check, is Mr. Zhang and Ms. Joanna done back?
Yes, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Joanna, are you back? Okay, nice. Now we shall proceed on to the questions that you guys have posted in the pigeonhole. Yep. So the highest voted question right now with 17 votes is, will TP help us find companies for our internship, or do we have to find companies we want to intern at ourselves?
Yes. Okay, I'll answer the question. Yes, TP will find the companies for you. Nearly all the SIP positions were found by us, but some companies, I think most of companies may ask for an interview. So you also need to pass the interview. If you cannot pass the interview, then we will find another company for you to go for another interview. Then after passing interview, then you will go for that company. Yeah. Okay, then the second question, do our grades of specific modules affect our admission to the three streams? Oh, this one just now, Ms. Tan already answered this question. No, it will not affect. Next question, is there access to answers for past year's paper for the modules, as it would help us understand the structure of how our answers should be so we can do better? Okay. Sorry to say that no, it's not we say no, because this is a TP's guideline. The TP's guideline say we cannot give the previous year's answers to you. We cannot put the answer online. But what we can do is that we will still try to help you. Because most of the answers for the questions you can find either in the lecture slides or from the tutorials. Only for very few questions, if you are really not sure, you can write down your answer. And then send the question and answer to the tutors or the one or the lecturers who was teaching that topic. You can send it to him or her to ask, hey, can you help me, teacher? Can you help me to check? This is my answer. This is previous year's exam question, and this is my answer. Can you just help me to take a look? Okay, he or she may not have time to answer you immediately, but he may check, and maybe after 2 or 3 days he may check and give you some comments. So in this way we can help you. And for some common questions, we'll try to give the comments in the LMS. So everyone can see our comments to your answer. Yeah. Okay, next question. Is our intern in 3.1 or 3.2? Okay, so there are 3 different pathways. So if you choose food science or nutrition, for these 2 pathways, you will do your SIP, your internship in 3.1. That's only internship. You have 2 parts. One is SIP, one is MP, major project. So if you choose food and nutrition, you will do internship in 3.1, but your major project will do in 3.2, which is at the same time with those elective clusters. So when you do your major project in 3.2, you are at the same time study the 2 subjects of that elective cluster. But your internship, you have already done your internship. For culinary, if you choose the culinary pathway, you will be divided into 2 groups. We'll randomly, I think it's randomly, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Tan. So you will be randomly divided into 2 groups, and half of you will do your internship in 3.1, half of you will do your internship in 3.2. Okay. So that's a question. When will the timetable come out for semester 2? So no matter which semester, the timetable will come out. I think it's 2 to 3 days before the start of the semester. I think it's either the Thursday or Friday of week 0. Week 0 means the week before week 1. So Thursday or Friday, it will come out. Sometimes slightly earlier, Wednesday. This one is the whole school. It's like this. It's not just our diploma, the whole school. Next one. Why do we have exams during study week? Can exams be during exam week instead? I personally find having a study week before exams very crucial to do well. Yes, you're right. Just now I mentioned maybe a few may be conducting the study week. It's not. We will try not to do that. Okay, we will try not to do that. Why a few subjects will conduct the assessment in the study week? Only two situations. Only two situations. One, for some of you, maybe for year 1 or year 3 students, you don't have examination. Okay, you don't have examination. So you don't have examination in examination week. Then we put a few assessment in the study week or examination week. So you will not attend the assessment in just 1 week in the last week in week 17. If you attend assessment in week 17 for all your subjects, the workload will be very heavy for you. So actually, why we do this is we think about you. Actually, we want you to have the workload will be more balanced. It's not squeeze all the assessment in just 1 week. So that's why we put a few in the study week. That's one situation. You don't have examination, You don't have examination. Then we put it there. Second situation is what happened during the COVID-19 period. During the COVID-19 period, what happened is that MOE may tell us that you cannot conduct examinations. Okay, so we can only conduct a small term test, or we have to convert all the examinations to small term tests, or even online quiz, or online tests. So if that's the case, that means also there's no examination week. So to make it more balanced, so don't squeeze all the assessment in just 1 week. Then we put some in the last week in week 17, maybe 1 or 2 in the study week, maybe 1 or 2 in the examination week. So it's more balanced. Your workload will be more balanced. Actually, it's better for you. Okay, we will never do something like you have examination. We still put something in the study week. So if we confirm that for especially for year 1 students or year 2 students, if you have examinations, then we will try our best to not put any assessment in the study week. I heard that. Okay, thanks for the question. Are there any opportunities to pursue a career in different field outside? I think just now Ms. Tan already answered this question. So one is business, and actually you can also apply for biological science in NTU to study biological science related degree. If I choose nutrition in year 2 and year 3 and wish to further my study on dietetics in local universities, seeing that the industry is small, I still recommend I choose nutrition. Okay, so this one I cannot decide for you. It really depends on, are you really interested in being a dietitian? Now, if you're really interested in being a dietitian or being a nutrition consultant, a nutritionist, as a consultant, doing the consultancy in this area, then you can go for it. But yes, you're right. The job market in Singapore is very small in this area. Although you are in the nutrition pathway, since you have already also learned the food science before, you also learned culinary in year 1 before. Actually, it's your choice. You have many other choices in the food industry and the culinary part. And the food industry and the culinary field, it's easier for you to find the jobs. So I cannot do the decision for you. It's still you. You need to think about how interested you are in this area. Okay. Next one, for study opportunities for food science, food technology students, are there good study opportunities in college, university in the US and Canada? This one, I don't know if Ms. Tan.
I can.
Okay.
Okay, US and Canada. US definitely has some good universities for food science, but normally our students don't really go US because it's more expensive compared to Australia, and it's much further away, of course. So most of our students will end up going to Australia. Maybe a small handful will go to UK. but mainly is in Australia because of the distance and the cost. US, there are definitely good use, as I mentioned, but definitely more expensive lah. So we don't have many of our graduates going all the way to US or Canada.
Okay, thanks. How will students be selected for internship, like the replacement? Ms. Tan, can you help to
I can
answer?
share.
Yeah.
So for before you go out for SIP, the SIP coordinator will make briefing to you, and then she will probably give you some info on what SIP is about, etc. You will be asked then to choose, okay, preference. Your SIP, do you want it more in food science, nutrition, or culinary areas? Okay, so you indicate your interest. After that, of course, we have our own company contacts, which have already stated they want to take interns. So all the companies, they also give requirements. For example, of course, interview now is very common. They want to interview our interns. Other than that, they will have some specific criteria, like maybe for certain jobs, it has to be a boy. So they will state that clearly. It has to be a male student, or maybe in certain conditions, like say in the food industry, you have to be able to handle alcohol or non-halal food. Okay, so if that is a problem, then of course, then that is a criteria that we will also need to evaluate before we select students for that particular position. So we look at what the students choose. We look at how you perform in the interviews, and of course the company's selection criteria, or the criteria that they give to us. Yeah. So these are all the things that we have to take into consideration before we can allocate a company to students for SIP. Yeah. I can take the next one. What do you learn in the culinary track? So for culinary track, definitely in that track, you will focus more on the culinary skills. Definitely in your first year of studies, you take the fundamental culinary, fundamental baking subjects. So these are the fundamentals which everyone will take. Then when you move on to year 2, we would focus more on certain techniques. So you take this heritage cuisine subject. So you focus more on the techniques used to create heritage recipes. And then in 2.2, you will learn more about some of the culinary technology. So for example, things like sous vide, frozen dough technology, what are the technologies or the processes involved for like mass production or cook chill, cook freeze type of technologies. All this you would learn. Yeah.
Next one, what's the likelihood? Ms. Tan, can you also help me answer the rest few questions? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now with the current COVID situation, hospitals may not even be taking students. So because they just simply cannot cope with, overseeing interns while they are, battling the front line in their own hospital. So I think this recent SIP, we didn't have any students in hospitals. So definitely this round, there was a shortage of nutrition placements. So a lot of the nutrition students had to end up going to food science type of placements for this past April. How is year 3 like? Is it stressful considering subjects, MP and intern? Okay, so in year 3, you have one semester where you go out for SIP. So that semester, you are just doing SIP. Then when you come back, or depending if you're on the culinary track, you have the other semester where you take your MP plus the elective cluster subjects. So 2 additional subjects. And I believe you have LEAP 3 and CARE 3 as well, together with your MP. So it does require some time management, right? Because you have this major project you're working on, which may have deliverables, especially if it's a consultancy or industry related project, your deliverables may be even more crucial, timeline may be tighter. So yes, there is a certain amount of stress, But we hope that because by now you are already in the third year, you are able to sort of manage and cope. You understand how to study. You have adapted to, the poly life, studying these subjects in poly. Usually our students will, in the end, they all cope. Okay, no one will, they all survive. So you don't have to worry too much. Can we change? Normally, we advise you not to change, but if you have good reason, you will need to tell us early before the semester starts. You need to give some reasons, okay, justifications of why you want to change. Then we will see if the class size has been maxed out or what, if we can still allow that change. Of course, there's also the timetable. Okay, so for this one, with culinary students having their internship in 3.1, does it mean their MP cannot be done with students from 3.2? Okay, so again, only half of the culinary students will go out for internship in 3.1. So that means we have all the students for food science and nutrition who are doing their SIP in 3.1, and then 50% of the culinary students doing internship in 3.1. Right, so that means in 3.2, when all of you come back, if you are the culinary student taking your MP in 3.2, you will be able to have group members from the other tracks, okay, because food science and nutrition are also back doing MP in 3.2. However, if you are doing your MP in 3.1, unfortunately for the culinary students doing MP in 3.1, it means that your groupings for MP would only be the culinary students because everyone else is out on SIP. For the next one, culinary, currently there's only the SIT that offers culinary related degree in Singapore. So I think as Mr. Zhang mentioned just now, for SIT, it's a minimum of 3.0. And of course, that's the interview. SIT also looks at interview. Generally, we do not allow self-secure internship. Reject. So far, no one has rejected anywhere we send them. So, I mean, usually the companies we send you to is places that we have, established already, long established a relationship with them. And we also make sure that these companies are able to, meet the learning outcomes as required for SIP. So generally, we hope that, our students really, they shouldn't be rejecting the positions. Yeah. Mr. Zhang, you had something to add on for this one?
Yes, actually, you are right. The first one for suggesting places. You can suggest place, but we may not approve because for any new places for SIP, we need to go through a formal process. We need to check if they can really provide good environment for our students to learn. So for any new places, it's a non-process. You cannot tell us, oh, one company told me I can go there. So after 2 weeks, then I want to go. No, it's a very non-process. It takes several months to approve, to check if this company is really good for you to learn. So then getting approved, when it is approved, then we can send it to you, send you to that. So that's why for the positions we find it for you. Actually, it's past all the assessment already, internal assessment already. So we will not send you to any places. We send you to the place because it's already we have been proven that this is a place for you to learn. Yeah. Okay. So thanks. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Are we allowed to find out? Are we allowed to choose, like, if we want central kitchen and other company? You're not allowed to choose a company, but before the briefing, there is a pre-SIP briefing. During the briefing, I think Ms. Tan, correct me. There will be you also indicate where do you want to go? Yeah, what type of companies you like. So we will try to allocate according to your preferences. But if really cannot, yeah, because there's no such company, then we'll just allocate one for you. Will students from culinary elective choose to go to food technology internship? Ms. Tan, I think.
Yes, I think there have been a number who decided to go food technology. So of course, given must explain to us before you decide to change. So again, as I mentioned, because you've studied all three areas, so you actually have the basic knowledge in all three areas. So you should be able to, work in all three areas, although maybe your skill sets may not be so defined for each area, but you should still be able to do the basic work for each sector. Can we change course in uni? Okay, I'm not too sure on the process of going to med school in Singapore, but generally so far none of our students have gone to med school. Maybe, Mr. Zhang, would you have anything to elaborate on going to med school?
Yes, theoretically can, because NUS and NTU, we are recognized by both universities and also the medical schools. They recognize this diploma. So yes, you can apply for it, but getting an offer from medical school is very difficult. It's not only do they look at your academic results, but you need to pass the several interviews. It's called a mini station interview. And for NTU, NTU has previously NTU and the NUS both has 6 stations, but last year they changed because of the COVID-19. So we don't know in the future what type of interview it is, but it will still be multi-stations interview, I think. Yeah. So it's not only the academic results. They need to see if you're really suitable to be a medical doctor. Yes, but technically, yes, can, because we have already submitted the accreditation forms to them, and they recognize this diploma. They will accept your application. Yes.
Okay, study opportunities for culinary track locally is only SIT. So SIT offers the culinary management. So I think the other one is called pastry and baking. So they have these two. So one is more culinary, one is more baking. So this is the only local one. Overseas, of course, locally, it wouldn't be a university degree, but it's more like you go for like Shatec or at Sunrise, where that one is really focusing and honing on your skills. So definitely, if say after this diploma, you want to go out to be a chef, not a R&D chef, not a food technologist, but a chef working in a restaurant, then I would really recommend that you need to go further and fine-tune your skills. So at Shatec or Sunrise, this type of institutions where they really focus on imparting the skills to you. Overseas, if it's uni, there is of course the Le Cordon Bleu, but that one is very expensive. The closest one to us would be in Thailand. Yeah, but it's not cheap also. Okay, the internship one, I think we've mentioned already. So you're not given a list, you will just indicate food science, nutrition, or culinary. What path is more suitable? This one, we can't really say for you. You have to have the passion and the interest yourself. I mean, if you like cooking, you like baking, and you can see yourself, working in that industry, maybe, that is something you want to choose. Maybe I know a number of you have since coming in want to be a dietitian, so naturally you would choose the nutrition track. Then for some who really don't like nutrition but want to work in the lab, want to do testing, food product development, you enjoy doing that, then of course, then food science is more for you. So this one, you really have to see for yourself, what is your interest? Okay, what's your inclination? Career opportunities, I think just now that one we shared already, right? Early part, one of the questions. Okay, overseas internship, last time we used to have, yes, but after the COVID, we had to stop all overseas internships. So I don't think we will be able to resume this so soon due to the current situation as well. Yeah. Unfortunately, I have not been to Le Cordon Bleu, so I cannot share what it's like studying there. Okay, for MP, you will choose your own groups. So normally it's a group of 3 or 4, or usually 3, in groups of 3. You will need to indicate what is your interest. So again, food science, nutrition, or culinary. And then you will form your own groups. Of course, before this, there will be a briefing done to you by the MP coordinator. You will form your groups, indicating is your group wanting a food science, nutrition, or culinary related project. And then the MP coordinator will try to allocate as best as we can according to the preferences that the students have indicated. There are some MP projects which may be a continuation of SIP. So then therefore, some of the projects, say for example, if you were attached to this company and then the company for SIP and this company wants to continue with the MP project, so you may have to continue doing your MP together with your 2 other friends, you know, in this project because you were attached there for SIP. Yeah, so generally, but MP, we would look at what is your preferences and then we try to allocate projects accordingly. Yeah. What are the structures? Sorry, this question I don't quite understand. What are the structures? You mean like what is your job scope, is it? If you're asking like what is your job scope, then perhaps you would be working in places developing nutrition education material. So things like maybe to educate the public on, you know, healthy eating. So you may be producing things like videos, posters, to educate on healthy eating, maybe for children, what's the portion size they should be eating, primary school children, what is their requirements. These are just examples of what you may do as a nutrition educator. What is taught in BMIC? Okay, maybe Mr. Zhang, would you like to?
For BMIC, for basic microbiology, you will learn 2 parts, but the major part is your skills. So the lectures, you will have lectures and practical lessons. So the lectures, you will learn the basic about the bacterial, virus, and fungi, and the structure, the names, how to name them, the structure, how to deal with it, how to calculate the clones, all those. But in the main thing is how to handle it, how to grow the bacteria, how to prepare the material, how to prepare the reagents and the materials to grow the bacteria, how to maintain the bacteria, and how to count the bacteria, and then how to observe it on the microscope, how to stand them and observe it. And so for all those skills, so you will be mainly tested on the basic skills of handling the bacteria. And this is very important for food and the culinary. So because the food and the culinary, we need to make sure that there's no contamination most of the time. So how to handle this bacteria is very important skills for you. Yeah, thanks. Next. What is the next question? Which one are we looking for?
Okay, sorry. I think we've answered all the questions, but I'm just looking through to see if we missed.
Okay, to see if missed anything. Okay.
It's quite a new question.
This one I already answered before, so no need to answer again. Yeah, no more question, right?
Is the SIT course related to CIA?
Yeah, the culinary course at SIT is the CIA course.
Okay, when you are searching for the new questions, I just want to share another information to all the students. So for the coming semester, we have getting the MOE and TP's guideline. At the beginning, all the lectures will be 100% online. We have no choice because this is MOE and TP's guideline because of the current COVID-19 situation. And all the tutorials will also be 100% online. So practical lessons will still try to conduct face-to-face practical lessons. We will try our best, but we are still waiting for MOE's guideline. But currently MOE did not say anything. If anything changed, we'll inform you immediately. But currently we may still be able to conduct face-to-face practical lessons. But to conduct face-to-face practical lessons, we must strictly follow the safety guideline. And the maximum two students together, and even the two students is in one group. Even the two students in one group, you two must still be at least 1 meter away. Okay, so be really careful about this. Follow all the safety distancing guidelines, and there will be safety ambassadors in the school to check everywhere, especially check in the lab. So if some safety ambassadors tell you something, or in the corridor, for example, previous years in a previous semester in the corridor, you may want to eat something. You are not allowed to eat in the corridor. If you want to eat something, you have to eat at the canteen. Okay, but if some ambassadors come and tell you don't do this, please follow the guideline. They are not there to just criticize you or just find you are doing something wrong. They're there to help you and help everyone. So if they tell you, hey, don't do this, then don't do it. Okay, don't do it. Okay. So that's what I want to share with you. Okay. And I hope in the near future the COVID-19 can disappear. Then we can have more and more face-to-face lessons. But now, because of the COVID-19 situation, we have to follow the MOE and TP's guideline. Okay. Any more question? What is taught in food chemistry? Ms. Tan?
Okay, yeah. So food chemistry, basically you are going to be learning about the macromolecules, so fat, protein, carbohydrate, and water, and basically what are the chemical and physical reactions that they will undergo within our food matrix. So when they're maybe exposed to different conditions. Yeah, so this is simplistically what you're going to learn. Do we choose? Yes, you will choose your own group. Okay, I think for internship, some companies don't even pay, but minimally. So for some companies who don't pay, at least we try to ask them, they would at least give you like transport allowance, okay, food allowance. Other than that, I think minimally the SIP payment is 450 or 500, right? $500.
450, yeah, 450, yes.
Yes, the SIT with CIA, they have two courses. One is culinary, one is baking.
Okay, it seems like we have answered all of the questions. So give us a moment while we switch back to the slides. Thank you, Mr. Zhang and Ms. Joanna Tan for your inputs on the questions. And we have now come to the end of this event. Thank you all for joining us today, and a special thanks to Mr. Zhang and Ms. Joanna Tan for answering the questions and making this town hall possible. Do remember to fill in the feedback form for attendance, and this form also allows us to improve our future town hall events. Thank you and have a nice day. Also follow our Instagram at ASC FIG and ASC Studies Club for any more updates on future events. Yeah, that will be all for this event. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.
Okay, thank you for your attending,
you.
and thanks to
Thank you.
the two MCs. Thank you.